What is up, everyone on YouTube? And today we have the rerun of two very good banners featuring two extremely powerful units. We have the limited unit Amid, who's rerunning finally. Everyone's been asking for a rerun. And we also have the best cleaver in the game, in my opinion, Ran. Best opener, does a ton of damage, super fast, right? Has defense break. Both of these units are very strong. Amid's running for 2 weeks, and then Ran is running for 1 week because Amid is limited. And yes, I think it's the first rerun of Amid, and she's not available from this custom group summon, and a lot of people were actually hoping to get her. But now you actually have the chance, and let me just say, I think it's a very risky period to pull, no matter what I say here about these units, because every time we have the custom group summon, we always have, a collab rerun, or a new collab, or just a ton of good units come out, limited units included. So you have to be very careful around this time. And I really do think Samool is trying to bait us here with these really good banners, these two banners. But I'm going to give my honest opinion about these units, and you guys can decide for yourself if you actually want to risk pulling for them, because you don't really know what's going to come in the future anyways, right? So let's actually look at Amid's skills. A lot of people don't actually know what she does that are new to the game because she has never actually rerun. First off, her design, artwork, amazing, S tier. But we're actually going to look at her skills here. Let's actually start with her S2. This is the skill you're going to use first most of the time. It is an AoE CR push. It's going to be 25% combat readiness to all allies with a skill nullifier and an extra turn. So just this S2 alone is extremely powerful, because after that you can chain it into your S3. So basically you combat readiness push everyone, give them all skill nullifiers, so they're basically invulnerable for 1 turn cycle. And you have your S3, which will actually dispel 2 debuffs from any ally and grant them swift attack. And swift attack will be at the end of the turn. You'll increase combat readiness by 50% one time. You'll also give them attack buff. Now this works very well with units that have built-in CR pushes. One of the best units that can actually use this is going to be Blue Kisei, so that's why you see Amid paired with Blue Kisei a lot. And that is because Blue Kisei is an insanely hard-hitting unit, AoE and single target. And also because her S3 actually gives her a 50% CR push. So she gets that 50% from her S3 and then the 50% from swift attack. So what she actually does is if Kisei goes after Amid, and Amid S3 is the Kisei, which should always happen, Amid will always S3 the highest attack unit. I think it's the fastest unit actually, I'm not too sure. But Kisei will S3, and then she'll take another turn after, and with that barrier, she'll S2 and that stealth, and do a ton of AoE damage because her S2 gets buffed when you're stealth, and your S3 gives you that stealth. So a lot of defense teams, especially in the past year, have been running, Amid and Kisei, and that's because basically Amid pushes up Kisei, Kisei one-shots the fire unit, and then S2s and kind of just one-shots your team because she hits so hard and her scaling is insane, and especially because of exclusive equipment, right? You get more speed, so you can actually build her on more damage, you get extra damage on her S2, etc, etc. So a very potent combo. But yeah, there's a lot of other combos, right? She's very good with just any damage dealer, right? She can use Spectre Tenebria. You don't really need to get an extra turn right away. Even the 50% CR push is enough. Now we have her S1. It is a combat readiness push, and also you can soul burn it to actually combat readiness push all of your allies. Now she does get countered by Politis, because Politis can reduce combat readiness gain, but you can just actually ban Politis in RTA and you'll be fine. But Amid does also struggle because her speed isn't the highest, and she's not a ranger actually. If she was a ranger, she would be a lot better because she could be on Guiding Light. But because she's in Soul Weaver, she's not as good as other openers. You'll see Lua and Nog will just be a lot better because they're safer. Obviously Amid does stuff kind of different with her combat readiness push and her attack buff, but you get what I'm saying. Her opening abilities, you have to guarantee she basically takes the first turn, and she can safely get her teammates to actually cycle past the enemy, or she is kind of useless. So overall, I think she's a very powerful, aggressive unit. If you like playing very aggressive, you like to cleave, you have really good speed gear, you definitely want to use her. Basically, all you need to build her is high speed and high effect resist and some health, and you're pretty good to go. You can see Amid's upwards of like 280, 290 speed, which makes her insane, and she's a very powerful unit and very fun to play around with. Now, is she worth pulling for? I would say, as a limited, yes, she looks amazing. Yes, she's very good in aggression, but in the current meta, you don't really see her that much anymore. So just from a gameplay standpoint, I don't think she's really worth it. You're not going to really ever pick her. Even her defense teams that used to be very good are not that great anymore. There's just a lot of counters out there. So I don't really think she's worth it. She kind of gets shut down by Lua, Zio, Conquer Lilius, anything that ignores effect resist, right? And just cleave in general will actually destroy her. If you pick like a Ran into her, right, and just have all speed, you'll actually just beat the mid very easily. So honestly, even though she looks amazing and she's limited, if you're looking for units you can use right away, I don't think she's worth it. If you want a unit because she's limited, or if you want a mid because she's limited and you're hoping she gets buffed, or maybe she'll come back in the meta, she's a good pickup. She's one of the better limiteds out there. Next we have Fan of Light and Dark. This is going to be required on a mid. If you don't plan to pull for a mid, you don't really need this, but if you do plan to pull for a mid, you definitely want to buy at least one copy of this, because you're going to see after using a non-attack skill twice, which is going to be her S2 extra turn into her S3, you will actually give CR to the ally with the highest attack, so you'll CR push your ally even more, and you have a chance going up to 70% to give increased critical hit damage. If you get this buff on your damage dealer with that attack buff already given from your S3, and you get Combat Readiness pushed twice with skill nullifier, that unit is going to one-shot a unit. If it's like Spectre Tenebri and you soul burn, you can one-shot like 2 units. It's pretty insane. Definitely need this on a mid if you do plan to pull for her and use her. Now let's talk about Ran. So Ran, I'm just gonna say it outright, one of the best cleavers in the game, if not the best. He is extremely strong. If you guys don't like cleaving or playing very aggressive, you're never gonna really pick him, but he still is very good in Guild Wars defense if you have good speed gear. But yeah, he is very hard to gear. You want him at ideally around like 310 speed, 300 speed, right, which is very hard to do. And you also want him to be at 100% crit chance, or like 85 at the very least, if you want to actually min-max a little bit with his speed. It's very hard to build him. If you do get him built, he's very powerful in defense, like I mentioned, and very good in RTA as an opener. In general, you can pick him early and actually just, bait people into picking anti-cleave and then go into more standard comp, or you can even just full cleave, or some people even build him on like a full effectiveness Ran. A lot of ways to build him. I've even seen like slow tanky Rans, but regardless, the most effective ones need to be very fast. So it's pretty hard to build him. If you don't have that speed gear, you're not going to find that much value in him. But he's a pretty good unit, right? He has this S2 to give everyone immunity. Very nice. Gives him attack buff as well and an extra turn. You can use this with a 4-star artifact known as Silver Rain, I believe it's called, a thief artifact. And you can actually use him as a attack buffer for another unit. So if you use this, you'll see you have a chance going up to 100 if you max it out. Mine's not maxed out because I don't use Ran, to give an ally except for the caster with the highest attack, attack buff for 2 turns when using non-attack skill. And yes, his S2 is a non-attack skill, so you can give attack buff to another unit. Very commonly used with like Summertime Hysteria and stuff like that. Or you can put him on full damage because his S3 hits like a truck. It's a AoE attack, strips 2 buffs, has a 100% chance to inflict Stigma, which will decrease Combat Readiness gains, right? And also have a 80% in defense rate, which is very nice, and also skill nullifier. And this damage scales with the speed, so you don't need too much crit damage. You just need crit chance and speed and some attack, and he's good to go. His S1, single target attack, penetrates defense, scales with speed as well. Hits very hard. Now this unit is super toxic because you can actually run him on another artifact known as, where is it here? It is a thief artifact, Rihanna and Luciella, which is what my Ran has. So basically you'll have a chance to be granted an extra turn at the end of the turn, can only be activated once per turn. So basically what you can do is just S2 and then S3. You have 2 chances to proc RNL. So what you can do after is if you proc it, you S1 after and one-shot a unit that's defense broken. And on that S1, if you proc it again, you can take pretty much chain turns. It's like super annoying. If you face him in Guild Wars, you know what I'm talking about. He always procs it over and over and just one-shots your entire team. For that reason, I think Ran is one of the best defense units in the game because there's so much RNG that you can't really counter. You can't really counter extra turns proccing, right? So yeah, he's just super strong and super annoying and will always net you wins if you have him on that artifact. See, I think Ran, if he was a limited unit, like even if he's not a limited unit, he's better than most limited units, is what I'm trying to say, especially if you have fast gear. So I don't want to say he's a must-have, but if you're a cleaver, he's definitely a must-have. If you want a good defense team opener, he's very good. And if you want him to actually be a good opener for you, he can be that for you. Just need to make sure you have good speed gear. Now, I'm not too sure if he's available from the story summon. I'm pretty sure he is, right? So what you can actually do is not pull on this banner right now. Yeah, he is available, so you don't have to pull it in now. Honestly, I would probably skip it and then pull on him later because we probably have better units coming. Or not better units, but better banners coming with like a collab rerun or something. And also, we do have a limited running alongside him. So even though Ran is better, I would say wait for a better time to pull in when you have a lot of bookmarks saved up, because I know everyone's drained with all these limiteds and this custom group summon. So even though Ran is a very good banner, I would say it's a bait. You definitely just want to wait and pull him on the story summon later when you have excess bookmarks. Now for his artifact, not really used on anyone. You can use it on Rand because he has that non-attack skill to remove souls and actually gain souls. But for the most part, like I mentioned, RNL, Rihanna, and Luciella, just his best artifact, even in RTA, because it's just super annoying. Like, he can just win you games off proccing it, so very toxic artifact, just super annoying. If you play Summoner's War with Violent Rune, you know what I'm talking about, how it can be just kind of game ending. So yeah, that's pretty much it for these two banners. Just to summarize, both are very good. I think, I guess Ran is very good. Amid is like kind of in terms of usability right now, but she was very good. Maybe she'll come back in the meta. If you do pull for a mid, definitely want an artifact. Rand's artifact I would probably skip on, and even Rand himself, even though he's a very good unit for cleave and aggressive players, just pull on him on the story summon later on. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.